Hey, what's up everybody? Astro here. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about installing fat bars on the Yamaha Nmax. Right, so it's a relatively simple process doing this thing. A lot of you guys are wondering, okay, so what are these bars all about? I'm going to start right from the top for anyone who knows nothing about scooters, motorcycles, or anything like that. What we're trying to achieve here is, number one, a more comfortable riding position. So obviously, those of you familiar with the Yamaha Nmax know that the bars are incredibly narrow and angled towards this way, to the rider. You have a very neutral riding position, but it doesn't give you absolute control. And for my taste, it is not as relaxed a position as it would be if the bars were wide, such as these bars here. Okay, so what you're doing is you're replacing the original bars with where the handlebars were really narrow, probably about here, and replacing them with wider forward, a more aggressive riding stance. Okay, so that's what we're going for here. Now the job itself is very, very simple. You think, so what's so difficult? You just remove the original bars and you clamp some new ones on there. That is the basic way of doing it. That's it. There's not much more to it. But there are some very small, fine details which those who have never done this before, on any bike for that matter, may have some issues or troubles or run into a little bit of problems. I'm going to try and go through those problems and work with you on that, okay? So the first thing is, on the Yamaha Nmax, because the bars are angled so far back, the original ones, and you kind of have your hands here close to your body, so you have a very neutral riding position, that obviously when you turn full lock, there is absolutely no problem, okay? Now, with customizations and all the different parts you can buy for this scooter out there, you can run into problems when you start mixing and matching parts, okay? So let's say the first thing you have to worry about when you're choosing a bar is the bend, okay? Now, if I come to this position here, you can roughly see what kind of bend this bar is in. I can't exactly remember what bend this was. It's very close to what they call a Carmichael bend. Okay, so certain dimensions, certain bend, certain angle, but this is what I went for. Now, the first thing you have to worry about, as I was saying, is the clearance. And the clearance is the screen. Because the original screen is very close to this aftermarket screen I've got here in clear, and on full lock, obviously the bars are going to be in a more aggressive position, so out to the side and slightly more forward. So on full lock, you might be able to hit that. And that is the case on some bars, okay? Now, if you look on mine, there's about a 5mm gap on full lock there. So it doesn't actually hit it, it clears it. So there's no problem there. It's not interfering with anything, and it's not, the screen isn't impeding the usage of the scooter. Okay, same on this side. And there's about, yep, same again, about 5mm of clearance there. Okay, so that's one of the things you have to worry about. Now, the original mounting positions on this is the second thing I'd like to talk to you about. The initial mounting points of this with the clamp bars there, or the clamps, or the stem, or whatever you want to call it, is for normal bars, very thin bars, okay? If you go for fat bars, which are obviously much fatter in diameter, you have to do what I had to do here, and that is get a converter, okay? So the converter, what it does is, oh, sorry, my cam's got a bit funny. There. This is that half semicircle of where the original bar goes. It's a very thin bar, okay? But if you go for fat bars, obviously the diameter is a lot fatter, so you have to get a converter. That's a fat bar converter, what they call it. It's also a fat bar riser, because it raises the position of the original bar here at 1 inch up. So this is a 1 inch riser and converter, which goes up there. It's made by RFX, for those of you who are wondering. And what that does is just bring the bar up slightly, so it's not so far down. Obviously, if the bars are wider, you're going to have to sit forward a bit more, or more upright. Your arms are going to stretch forward a little bit more. Bring that 1 inch up. That's going to help with the riding position and with the clearance. Now, if it was 1 inch down, it would not clear that screen, okay? Just so that you know. This was kind of worked out by me. I went through quite a few different bars, okay? And I'll talk to you more about that in a second. Now, the second thing you want to think about when you're installing fat bars or wider bars on a Yamaha Nmax is the wires. Now the original bars had a cover, had a big plastic cover. Those of you that have an Nmax or have seen them know what I'm talking about. It's a big plastic cover that goes here, and it has two jobs. Number one, to cover all the wires. Okay, there's a load of wires, and I mean a load and a load of wires everywhere, It's to cover those. And number two, to help with waterproofing everything, okay? So it's kind of killing two birds with one stone with a plastic cover on there. The only problem is it does look a little bit, shall we say, not as aggressive for my taste. It's fine for you if you like it, but for my taste, it's not as aggressive. I like the semi-naked, aggressive, almost motocross type look, okay? Also with more control. So it is functional, as well as, you know, slightly more visual. So as I was saying, the second thing you have to think about is the wires, hiding the wires, okay? And what I did here, this is not actually metal, this is a wire tidy, okay? It's a winding plastic wire tidy that you can cut to length. I've just covered that part there, cut it here, and this is wire tidy, okay? It literally is self-wrapping wire tidy. So it comes in like a roll that's all wrapped together, really long. You just cut it to fit, put all the wires inside, and it wraps around itself, okay? So it kind of like clamps on, kind of like a claw, pinches on and tidies everything up. Did that with both sides, this part here. I could have done better with that, you know, you can see that. Well, that's frayed now, but I'll probably tidy that up later. But that's what I did, okay? All these I don't have to worry about. These are the wires and everything. They're pretty much tidy themselves once they come over here, okay? They all go in there, but that's fine. That's one of the things you have to worry about. When I first took the cover off and I looked at the state of all the wires and how untidy it was, I was thinking, wow, this is gonna look awful. If I tape them up or just use wire tape or something, it's gonna look awful. So I came up with this. Now these, you can buy these off eBay or China sites or whatever. I got them from a motorcycle store. Can't remember how much I paid. Not very expensive, I don't think. Okay, so that's to cover the wires. And the third and almost final point I will be touching down on these bars is the workable space here, okay? So the hardware mounting section. Now when you buy bars, it's gonna be, for those of you who have, oh, what is that outside? Oh, that's beautiful. Sorry. So those of you who have never bought bars for a motorcycle before, you're going to go to a website, you're going to pick the company that makes the bar that you like. So these are Renthal Fatbars, Renthal, whatever you want to call it. You go on there and they have the same bar in different dimensions, okay? Sorry. There's a lot of motorcycles where I live, so it's like a really big thing about motorcycles down here. Anyway, the bend is going to be different, okay? The rise, okay, this is the rise here, so from this to this here, that's the rise, how much it rises by, how the angle of the bend there, and also the mounting hardware section there. You know, some are really short, some are really wide, and the central mount there, okay? So all these dimensions are going to be different. You're going to have some that are slightly higher, you're going to have some with really aggressive bends, some that are almost straight. It just depends what you want and what you need. Now, I cannot remember what bend these were. These are Renthal Fatbars, by the way, if I haven't said already. But I'll tell you that a problem that I had with one of the other makes that I went for. Now, the first set of bars that I went for were Pro Taper Fatbars. I believe they were in a Carmichael bend, and there was a massive issue with that. They stated on their website with all the dimensions and everything and the schematics that the area for mounting hardware, that's here to here, was about, I think they wrote about 200 and, I don't know, 205 millimeter, 210 millimeter, something like that. And I was really counting on that because I need exactly 200 millimeter for the mounting hardware, no less, okay? So I got those, ordered them, got them in the post, mounted them, and it turns out the section that was for mounting the hardware, that's this part to this part here, was only about 180 millimeter. So I instantly phoned up the company that supplied them, and there was a really nice sales girl on the phone, and she was amazing. She helped me with everything, and she did alert me that this is a common issue that they've had. And I said, how is it a common issue if you have a schematics of the product when the product doesn't match the schematics? And she said, that's the problem. A lot of people have been phoning up or sending emails back saying the product that they bought states that it was about 205 millimeter on the clearance, and it isn't. It just isn't. It's about 180, so they're off, way off. And she said it's a misprint on the schematics. And I said, that's fine, what shall I do about it? And she said, send them back, and then I will recommend you some bars. Now, we've got some Renthal Fatbars in a bend that's very close to the one that you went for. And she said, I'll send that out right now and you'll get it tomorrow morning. That way you'll have your scooter or your bike or whatever for the weekend. How's that? And I said, that's fantastic. I'll send these off back to you. She said, there's no hurry, just do that. So we did that. And then we sent it off. So that's one thing I do have to say about the Pro Tapers is the catalog is inaccurate. Or I don't know if they fixed that yet. That was in, what was it? The summertime of 2017 was when I got those bars, I do believe. And it's now been, I don't know how long, but whatever. I don't know if they fixed that. So if you get your Pro Tapers and you measure it, and the requirements are so strict to the schematics, you absolutely need, it says 205mm and you need 205, I wouldn't bank on that. It would probably be a lot less if they still haven't worked out the problems. And judging by the amount of stock that they had produced and supplied throughout the world, I believe that problem may still exist. I don't think they record everything, okay? But I don't know, you're gonna have to test that if you're willing to do that with your money. I sent it back, got these, and they were perfect. It said, I think it was like 200 and, I don't know how much, 208 or 210mm on the clearance, and it was. So I cut an inch off this side, and I cut an inch off this side, and all the mounting hardware went on perfectly. Now, those of you who have never mounted fat bars before, okay, or any bars for that matter, the original mounting hardware, which is this is the braking system here. You can see it's all mounted on by here. That there is a way for that to stay in place. It's not held in by pressure. There is a pin, okay, a big fat pin that sticks out this way, okay. It sticks out that way into the bar. So the original bar has a hole in it, and when you mount this on there, it goes into that hole, and that way it cannot turn. And then this part here then screws on and holds it together. So you've got the pressure of this and that steel pin inside the bar to prevent it from turning, to stay in its original position. Now, it's not very difficult. All you have to do is measure up where you want all this mounted and drill a hole in your new bar that is wide enough for that pin to go through. That's all you have to do, okay? So I would measure up all of this, and all of everything, and you'll be fine. I can't remember if it was actually this that had the recess pin or this. It's one of these two, but it's one pin, it's one hole that you have to drill on either side, one on this side and one on this side, okay? That will prevent things from spinning. It might be this actually, it might be the controls that have the recess pin. So that's one thing that you need to know. It's not very difficult, okay? If you have a drill, you can do it freehand by a drill. If you mess up, you don't have to worry about it too much because it will be covered by all of this. But just don't drill the hole too big, okay? Because then there'll be too much play. And then that's pretty much it. I took an inch off this side, and then this mounted up straight there. Once you've done your, you know how much your handlebar is going to take, or your grip, sorry. Once you know how much your grip's going to take, then you know where to mount this. Just mark up the hole and then drill through that. Now this is very slightly on a slope there, okay? I didn't want it too close to here. I didn't want it butted up real close to that. I wanted some clearance here, some clearance there. So everything's mounted perfectly in conjunction with each other. There is space in every orifice. It's not clamped together like sandwiched and stuff, and it's not going to impede each other's function or over time wear each other out. It's actually absolutely brilliant, the position of it. Okay, this is actually a phone mount. If you guys are wondering what that is, that's just a phone mount that I've clamped on. It just fits in the center there, which is perfect. My phone goes in the waterproof case and slips on there and holds itself in place, okay? So that's the fat bars. I'll give you guys a slightly better view. So when you mount this, this is how it goes. The original stem is there. You screw the bottom part of the converter into there with these new screws. You can cut those down. I really should have did that, but I didn't. They don't like foul anything. They literally just miss everything, so that's perfectly fine, but it doesn't look great. So you want to cut those to size ideally, which I may do in the future, depending if I sell this screw or not, because I've pretty much done everything I need to do about it, but that's for another video. This screws on there, the bar goes on, and then this clamps on there. Now, when you clamp your bars, leave a space or a gap on the back, okay? The back portion, that's this portion here. This part here should have the gap. On the front, it should almost be completely together. There is literally a paper gap there, okay? A gap that I can slide an A4 piece of paper in. Well, not A4, any piece of paper I can slide in there, just about, okay? Nothing more. And on the rear is where you want the recessed gap, yeah, okay? Not evenly, not back to front. That's the way you should mount them, okay? So that's it, that's pretty much it. That's what the bars look like. I really enjoy the way they look. I really enjoy the way they feel when I ride. Gives me a slightly aggressive, more aggressive riding position. I know it's a scooter, you don't have to worry about things like that, but that's the way I like it. You know, I like to tweak the things the way I like it. Even though scooters are pretty much just on the bottom of the list there, I like to make it to my taste, okay? So that's what she looks like now. Pretty cool, right? Give you another look of the RFX 1-inch riser converters. Very nice. Okay. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. Sorry this video was so long in coming. I've been very busy at work. Got a new job. I'll let a bit of information out about me actually. My job actually includes my accommodation. Okay, so I can, where I work, I can stay. I've got a new job. So look, when I go to this new job, which will be, it's very close to next year, I also have to look for a new accommodation as well. So I'm not only moving jobs, I'm also moving house, which is a big thing. It's like, I mean, moving jobs is a big thing, but if you include moving a house in the same time that you do that, it's a whole new life. You're doing something else, you're living somewhere else, and it's going to be totally different, okay? So just so that you guys know, I may be selling this, my Yamaha Nmax. Whether I get anything else, I don't know just yet. Everything's very uncertain, but everything's looking up, so don't you guys worry about me. That's pretty much it. Hope this video helps someone out there. I know some of you guys are eagerly awaiting this video and for all the information within. Thank you very much for your patience, and this is Astro signing off.